Sixers win it! Wow!
Oh, man, Embiid just posterized Russell Westbrook. You love the Philadelphia Eagles? Let me get a hell yeah!
What is up, everybody? Welcome to Party on Broad. It is Dibes, Mr. Crockpot on Twitter. The Party on Broad podcast can be found on iTunes and Spotify. If you're watching us here at the YouTube channel, make sure you like, subscribe below. The Philadelphia Eagles lost 27-17. Today we are reacting. The game just ended, and joining me today is our co-host. He is Rob. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at Philly_Madness. What up, Rob?
I've spent the day trying to figure out what has been worse for me over the last 14 days. Battling COVID-19, which I did, or watching the Philadelphia Eagles play. And I got to tell you, I don't know if I can make a choice right now. I think they both equally sucked as much as they possibly could. It is good to be back. I feel good that I actually have the energy to come back on here and yell about it today. But the Eagles really, really, really wanted to ruin my life. I just get back from COVID on Friday. It was my first time out of my house in 15 days. I'm all excited to sit down and watch some football today. And I mean, just a clunker. Nothing good happened. Nothing, Carson didn't play good or bad, if you ask me. He just was blah, which when you're the star quarterback, you can't afford to be blah. Okay, there's my Carson rip. But I've officially joined the I will not ever like Doug Peterson again. He has now reached to me what I think Brett Brown had reached to many 76ers fans a few years ago. I won't like him. I want him gone, and I'm going to want him gone until he finally is. Him and Jim Schwartz do nothing positive for this team because they can't even get him up for a divisional game off of a bye week. Forget about game plan. Just have your team ready to play. Couldn't do that. In my opinion, Doug Peterson needs to go. Jim Schwartz needs to go, and neither one will. And we'll be dealing with this until the end of the year.
All right. We're going to get into that big time. But also give a warm welcome to my man, Amadeo. Follow him on Twitter at AmadeoGracia98. He is the host of the Flyered Up TPL. The Flyered Up podcast, which just joined TPL. What up, Amadeo?
The only word I can describe, that meme that's always surfacing through Twitter that's just called pain. That's what everyone's feeling right now. And I just what is going through my mind as I think we're all thinking is you had a bye week and the coach's game plan for this game, and that's what they came up with?
Yeah.
What?
That is my biggest take, is to be this unprepared and undisciplined coming off a bye is a complete summation of what we have seen so far through 10 weeks of this season. We talked about this during the pregame. Am I being too hard on Doug Peterson? Am I being too hard on Jim Schwartz? That game, the Eagles lost today, was an exact everything we have seen about why Jim Schwartz and Doug Peterson have failed this team top to bottom. This is why you need to let 2017 go. This was a failure from top to bottom. You saw Jim Schwartz. You looked at his defense in that first quarter. He gave up 12 carries and 92 yards, 7.7 yards per carry against the Giants. You knew this was a good rushing team. How do you give up that much offense on the ground from the jump? The Giants had the ball for over 10 minutes in the first quarter. You look at the first half stats. Jim Schwartz gave up 218 yards. He gave up 4 for 7 on third down, 111 yards on the ground, 5.8 yards per carry. Daniel Jones looked like Peyton Manning back there. He was 12 of 14 I'm spitting all over my computer. He gave 12 of 14 in the first half. Then you look at Doug Peterson. Oh, baby, this is one of the biggest things that I am so beyond livid. To have Alshon Jeffrey, I can't wait to see the snap count when I wake up tomorrow morning. The thought of Travis Fulgham getting less snaps because Alshon Jeffrey returned to the field today is crazy. Absolutely crazy. This guy was absolutely on par to break over 1,100 yards of offense. One of the few playmakers Carson Wentz has chemistry-wise on the field, and you're taking him out for Alshon Jeffrey? What are we doing here? What are we doing? And then Boston Scott, we talked in the pregame that Boston Scott needs to get at least 10 to 15 touches. Sorry, not carries, touches in this game. He is the giant killer. Over 350 yards the last 3 games, 5 touchdowns. Miles Sanders was terrific. Dude, that guy's going to ask for a trade. That guy was a man among boys in this game today. Boston Scott had 4 touches in this game. Between Doug Peterson and Jim Schwartz, what are we doing here, guys? Like, we talked about this like 4 weeks ago, Rob, that like where do we start? Where does the blame begin? And all these people screaming Carson Wentz, Carson Wentz, Carson Wentz. Dude, I get it. He's playing hero ball way too much. You start with Doug, you start with Jim. They both gotta go. You're up, Rob.
Listen, Carson didn't even play hero ball today. Today was just a day where he wasn't good enough. You know, like it wasn't like he came out and turned the ball over 5 times. You know, it just there were some overthrows, absolutely. But what quarterback doesn't overthrow in a football game if you're not named Brady? You know what I mean? But Carson, listen, it's one of those things. It's a catch-22 with Carson. To get the best version of him, that risk factor goes up a notch, right? Those interception risks go up a notch because he's at his best when he's kind of slinging it a little bit. Today, he was, I thought, a little bit more methodical. And it wasn't great, but, you know, they were in the game, I felt, because he was able to make a couple plays here or there. They were running the ball very well. Here's my issue. The one drive that I think Boston Scott scores on the run, they're running the ball real well. Then they come back out, and they go Jalen Hurts after Miles Sanders had just rushed for a first down. They go Jalen Hurts in a trick play, which, by the way, I know people wanted more and more and more. Get rid of the package. It sucks. It does nothing. You're wasting plays now. You're wasting plays with Jalen Hurts. Everyone knows what to do because there's no creativity to it whatsoever. So you go Jalen Hurts, boring, 2 pass plays. After you are running it down their throats. Explain to me why you change anything there. So that's first. Secondly, I don't know what the snap count was at some point, though it looked more like Jeffrey was taking snaps from Hightower and maybe Ward and Fulgham. I got to see how it played out.
I need to. I'm going to go nuts. Like,
yeah.
I will be crazy Monday if that, because I think Jimmy Kempsky was tweeting out that he was watching the game. He watches it way closer than I do.
Yeah.
And he was saying that Fulgham was losing snaps because of Jeffrey. Sorry.
Yeah, so we have to see that. But, you know, listen, Doug told us all after the Super Bowl, and I'm going to continue to go back to this. This is the new norm. Well, the new norm has been since Frank Reich left. As much regression as Carson Wentz has shown and has been documented, Doug Peterson has done nothing of any positivity since Frank Reich and John DeFilippo walked out that door. He's terrible at coaching a game. He now can't get a team up when he has 2 weeks to get them up for the stinking New York Giants, who I understand that they're probably better than what their record says they are. But my God, you talk about getting out coached by a rookie coach. Joe Judge looked at the first game he played against you, and he went read option on your ass all day because he knew Jim Schwartz does nothing different, because Jim Schwartz is an arrogant, egotistical asshat who sucks at his job. Okay? I'm not even good. Like, I don't want to waste my breath on Jim Schwartz. He sucks. He should be fired tomorrow, but he won't be. But Doug Peterson, you know, you won the Super Bowl, and you go out and you write a book and you do all this, and it's a joke. It's a joke.
It's a joke.
You don't hire an offensive coordinator this year. Look what's happening. Look what your boy Matt Nagy did down in Chicago this week. Gave up play calling. Now, we'll see how it works out. But there's a head coach who at least can, you know, critique himself and understand that he might have to give something up. It's time for Doug Peterson to take a look in the mirror as much as any player on that team. The roster's not great. I said that going into the year. I didn't think the roster was great. But damn it, for Doug to be this bad, it's a sham. It's an absolute sham. And in my opinion, he should be fired this year. He won't be.
Come on, man. Come on. Nobody on this front office looks at each other in the mirror, man. There is no accountability on this team whatsoever, top to bottom. That includes Carson Wentz. You look at these stats. The Eagles ran the ball 23 times, 6.8 yards on average, 2 touchdowns. Everyone and their mother knows that Carson Wentz is best out of the pocket. He stepped back 37 attempts, and got sacked 3 times. Like, this isn't rocket science. This isn't rocket science to know what works with Carson Wentz. And they continue to do the same thing over and over and over again. That doesn't work, Doug. What are you watching? Get the playbook out of your head. It does not work. You're up, Amadeo. I'm sorry.
And sadly, it's going to be the same excuses week after week. It's going to be, oh, I have to do better than this. We have to be better. It's the same excuses. Carson Wentz, I got to be better. I can't be making these turnovers. I can't be getting sacked. Doug Peterson, same excuses. I got to make better play calling. When is it going to change? It's going to be the same thing week after week, and the schedule's not getting any easier.
No.
Yeah, Cleveland next week. You're going to have the Packers, Seahawks. And knowing going into December, we all know Doug Peterson wins in December. Is that going to change? Are we going to be? I have no idea.
We have Ty Book joining. There's no excuse for Boston Scott not seeing more touches. They should be throwing at least 3 to 5 screens to Scott every week. Did I not say that during the pregame? Like I said, if we don't see Miles Sanders and Boston Scott heavily involved in the screen game, wheel route game, this was one of the worst teams in the NFL giving up passing plays to running backs, period. How many did we see today? I mean, besides like a really good screen to Jalen Reagor, like it was like nothing.
How many times did they roll Carson out of the pocket? I mean, like designed rollout, not Carson having to roll out because the pressure was in his face. I think there may have been one.
Yeah,
I don't understand what he doesn't get about Carson being better throwing the ball while rolling out. It really makes no sense to me. It's really disappointing. I can't believe that 3 years removed, we want our coach out. But you know what? Damn it. Listen, you can get rid of Carson all you want. It ain't going to matter. What quarterback has Doug Peterson turned into a star? When did that happen?
This is coaching. This is 100%. 0 for 9 on third down. That is the first time in 16 years the Eagles did not have a third down conversion. What more do you need to know? The Eagles didn't turn over the ball. This was a situational shit show by the Eagles coaching staff. I don't even know where to begin and where to end. Like this is when you talk about top to bottom failures, like we talked about Doug, we talked about Jim Schwartz ad nauseum over the last several weeks. This is what you're watching. This is the problem. Amadeo, any takeaways before we get into grades?
And also, when you go to that second touchdown play, why is Doug going for 2? Why don't you just go for the field goal and you're down by 3? I could understand going for 2 on the first drive. I could understand that, but going for 2 on the second, why do you need to do that? Why do you need to do that? What, does Doug Peterson just look into his playbook and just say, the easy play is to kick the field goal. You're down by 3. No, I want to go for the hardest thing possible. I want to show that I am the most creative coach in the league, and I can control this offense by myself. It's not working.
It's a trickle-down effect from Howie Roseman, the smartest people in the room. What about you, Rob?
You know, that 2-point conversion should tell you everything you need to know about this guy. There's not a number in the world that makes that make sense. And you got a kicker, by the way, who's struggling with confidence, and you don't even put him out there at an extra point so that he can see the ball go through the goalpost a couple times to maybe build his confidence. Like you don't give a damn. You don't think about it that way because you're too enamored with whatever analytics equation tells you that that's the right play. You're too enamored with the fact that even when the run is working and you're running right down their throats, I got to throw a pass. It's been too long. Just stop. Just stop.
No one should be shocked. No one should. We've been talking about this on Party on Broad for weeks. Doug Peterson has no feel for the game whatsoever. No. None. He does not. Look, he's got all the numbers literally right in his face throughout the entire game. This shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. Any final thoughts, Rob, before we move on to grades?
Just that Listen, I know that they're not going to fire Doug Peterson middle of the season. That they're just not going to do that. I get that. I don't want this team to win anymore. I know normally I'm all about, hey, get in, let guys get playoff experience, let Carson get playoff experience. I don't want them to win. I don't want them to win. I want Schwartz fired tomorrow morning.
I tweeted that. I was like, if Jim Schwartz is fired, Monday morning, did the Eagles really lose?
It's just it's gotten to a point where
mind numbing.
They are so unenjoyable to watch. This is to me worse than any 4-12 season I've watched in the past, right? Because they just you want to preach the things that they preach and then give those efforts. It's disgraceful. Javon Hargraves, right? He was the big free agent signing. Has a guy made a freaking play?
Who?
Has he made a play? Roby Coleman dropping. It's everything's the same with that. I mean, I'm almost to the point where a loss doesn't even faze me anymore. I'm just so frustrated with how the organization's being run. Dibes, draft on Wednesday night for the Sixers, baby. That's all I care about right now.
They're not even going to have a first-round pick.
No, they're not going to make it.
Yeah. Here we go. We have James joining. Thanks so much for joining, James. He says, fire Doug. He also says, please, 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 and Schwartz the clown. Doug's is basically Brett Brown with a ring. You nailed it, Rob. Absolutely. Frank Reich won the Super Bowl. Told y'all. And then Ty Book, Doug has to give up play calling. We are stuck for multiple years, but he has to give up offensive control. That is 100% fact. We did a pod on what needs to be fixed with the Eagles. I think that was unanimous, like number one or number two, besides Jim Schwartz having to be fired. Like, we keep saying the same things week after week after week. It's like, throwing your head through a brick fucking wall. It's not mind-numbing. It's crazy. Let's grade Carson Wentz today. 21 of 37, 208 yards. He was sacked 3 times, 72.8 quarterback rating. He had 2 carries for 4 yards. How would you grade Carson Wentz today, Rob?
I'd give him a C. I thought he was just an average quarterback. You know what I mean? Like like I said, he didn't lose the game for you, but he didn't do anything to win the game for you. He missed some throws that I'm sure he would have liked to have had back. I think a C is a very, very fair grade for his performance today. Does he have to be better? Absolutely, he does. But for anyone that's going on Twitter today saying they lost this game because of Carson Wentz, you just don't understand what you're watching. You just don't get the game, because this game is not on Carson Wentz. This game is on the coaching staff today.
What about you, Amadeo?
I'm going to go with the same. I'm just going to go with the C minus around that. It's same exact fact. Carson didn't do much to lose this game. He didn't do much to win this game. Yeah, were there a couple of throws later in that game where the throw to Goddard, the throw to Fulgham, maybe those should have been caught. Maybe he should have hit Goddard in that late stages of the game. But it's not all on Carson. He didn't do anything to lose, didn't do anything to win. It's like what you said, Rob. It's on the coaching staff.
Yeah, I think a C minus is pretty fair. I'll start with the negative. Like, that spin move, step back, whatever he wants to call it, when he's trying to avoid pressure, man, I'm done with that. Mm-hmm. I am so far done with that move. I don't know why he does. It takes so much more effort to turn around your backside and spin move and then resurvey the field about what's going on. Like, why can't you just simply sidestep through the pressure and make a read, look at your next read? I'm done. Like, that needs to be corrected. Clearly, he's not developing in terms of reading the blitz. Side note, I thought Miles Sanders was pretty okay in pass protection today. There was a few times today where he picked up the blitz. That's another story. But yeah, a C minus. Let's move on to Miles Sanders. 15 carries, 85 yards, 5.7 yards per carry. He had 2 catches for 10 yards, which is an absolute sin. An absolute sin. I don't even know. I thought Miles Sanders was terrific today. The stats don't give him enough justice. There were so many times, like, he had a stiff arm that threw another guy down. Like, he looked like a man among boys. I'll go B plus, A minus. Let's start with Amadeo.
I'm going to go Miles. I'll give him a B plus. He was really good early in the game. He was basically throughout the entire game. I would say more towards the late stages where he really couldn't get anything going. And then he dropped that one short pass from Wentz. But overall, it's the same thing every week. It's a pattern. Miles Sanders, he gets those touches, and he gets some yardage, and then we barely see him the rest of the game. It feels like that's the same. It's the same type of plays that Doug draws up.
Thank you.
Oh, we'll use the rush sometimes. Oh, and then there's that big rush touchdown from Scott. And then what else happens? Nothing.
Thank you. How about the first play downs? Like the play calling on first down is like gonna drive me through a wall. What about you, Rob? How would you grade Miles Sanders, man?
Yeah, I think an A- B+ is right where I want to put him. And the only reason I take him down to that isn't necessarily, I mean, the usage isn't on him, so I'm not going to grade him because of that. But there was when they were still down one score, there was a second down or third down play where if he catches it, he's got a little room in front of him to run. And I think he dropped a couple passes late in the game. I'm not like killing him for it. I still think he was tremendous. I think he's the best player on that offense. But those two plays are why I was an A- B+. Doug, by the way, I need to say this when I end whatever I say. Doug sucks and needs to go. So I'm saying that after every time. Okay.
All right, let's go on. James says Wentz needs to reevaluate himself. We said it from the pregame show. Like that was like the one positive during the bye week was Wentz kind of confronted his own demons, saying that he needs to be a better game manager. He needs to let and live to the next down, throw the ball away. I don't think that was that big of a problem today. Wentz C+, missed important throws, didn't turn it over. He also needs a coaching staff. Amen. Joe Show, make sure you go subscribe to the Joe Show on YouTube. Thanks for joining, Brian. He says Wentz sucks, played a tiny bit better. The play calling is a legit crime. Our playbook is too recognizable. Dude, how about that Jalen Hurts package, man? That is one of the most laughable. That's like when the Eagles have a screen. Like the entire defense knows exactly what's going to happen every single time. Every time. Joshua O'Brien says, Wentz has been going downhill ever since we hired Press Taylor. And what does that tell you? No one's holding Wentz accountable. No one's getting in his face. This is the Sixers all over again. There are so many similarities between these two teams. It is sickening. It is absolutely maddening. And I'm looking at this box score, man. We started the show. If the snap count shows that Alshon Jeffrey took away from Travis Fulgham's stats, Alshon Jeffrey had 0 receptions, 0 yards, and 1 target. I will lose my fucking mind if that happens and someone shows tape that like Alshon's taking away snaps. So, and then we have Ty Book saying, I feel sick that I enjoy the Dolphins and Cardinals more than the Eagles. I mean, there's
a reason for that, though. There's a reason for that. Every other coach is creative. Doug is the most vanilla offensive game plan in the league. It's an abomination. I'm watching the red zone and I'm watching the plays that these teams are running, and the Eagles don't do anything remotely close to it. Not remotely close to it. It's an abomination. And I'm sick and tired of everyone. It's the same idiots that wanted to put it on the coach for the Sixers now want to start putting it on the players for the Eagles. No, you can't work it both ways, ladies and gentlemen. Can't do it.
And those same people will probably say, oh, if we put Foles back into the lineup, that'll fix everything.
Yes, exactly.
What were we spoon-fed all offseason to become more creative, to get faster on offense? Like, what have we seen? Yeah,
you want to know why Foles worked here? Because he's a vanilla quarterback. He's not a creation. He doesn't create, right? He just does, okay, I could do this, I could do that, I could do, which Doug can, I could do this, I could do. They can't do anything special. Like they were a flash in the pan for a 6-game stretch. And really, it was only for 2 of those 6 games where they were actually doing incredible things. I don't want to take away from the guy because it was a great moment, but Jesus, let's not act like, Foles would make it different. That's just terrible.
Yeah, and like we talk about coaching staff and their neglect of the linebackers. We talked about this also during the pregame. The hope was the linebacker play from the Dallas Cowboys game would have translated today, but it did not. It did not. And one of the most laughable statistics you'll see here, between Alex Singleton and TJ Edwards, 28 combined tackles, 1 tackle for loss. That's crazy. That is absolute. Like, were they tackling guys like 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage because the New York Giants had 151 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground today. Just that neglect of the linebacker position, that line of thinking like too smart for their own good, man, that is gonna be the death of me. It is time to let 2017 die. Please. Jeffrey Lurie, are you watching? Please. All right, let's go on to who should we grade? Does anyone want to grade someone?
An F for the coaching staff.
Yeah, I mean
That's just about it.
Yeah, I was going to give them an A.
But the entire defense is an F.
Yeah,
Defense was flat out terrible.
Absolutely god awful. Final takes, Rob.
Well, pack it up, fellas. I mean, this season's not going anywhere. I mean, what are they? All of a sudden, they're going to come out and beat the better teams in the league when it's just not going to happen. And nor should you want it to. Nor should you want it to, because we said at the end of last year, the one downfall to them going on that run and making the run that they did was they felt that they would be good enough to not have to really do any major changes. Well, I don't want that anymore. It's time for some major changes to be made. So I'm done. And I'll watch because I'm a fan, and I'll root because I'm a fan. But at the same time, I really hope I start winning bets and winning in fantasy more, because that's more important than the Eagles winning at this point.
When you were sick, we did a second half schedule prediction show, and I predicted the Eagles to lose this game. And then it became like, in a weird way, I was like rested, almost like some Eagles players. And you had Woj tweeting that the trade deadline is going to start, or not the trade deadline, like the NBA season is going to start like Monday afternoon. I was like, I'm feeling positive. And sure enough, I changed my prediction and went with the Eagles W. And man, was I completely wrong. Amadeo, quick final takes, and then we'll get to some comments.
Oh boy, what else is there to say? The schedule's not going to get any easier. It's just not. But knowing this team, it's 2020. They'll probably somehow win those games because it's 2020. Yeah. You can't basically explain anything.
Yeah. All right. The playbook, the Joe Show on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Brian says our playbook is too recognizable. Doug needs to revamp the playbook. Nah, man, he needs to be fired. We need an actual offensive coordinator. Oh man, just continues and continues. Antonio, thanks for joining, man. Thanks for joining Party on Broad. Doug Wentz and Jim Schwartz have to go today. Carson's going nowhere. We're gonna have to live and die with Carson Wentz. Ty Book says, I feel sick and I enjoy watching. Oh, we already read these. Let's move forward here. Let's move forward a little bit. Thank you for commenting. I'm trying to catch up. Giants or Washington can win this division, and that's kind of like the next question: is what is your confidence level that the Eagles are going to actually win this division? Like before today, they were like they had better odds to win the division than the Pittsburgh Steelers. Where is that today? Like that? Like there's.
Well, they're going to be in first place no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
I am done. I am done with anybody that says, but the injuries are stopping. Everyone's getting healthy. Like you can't follow that with the Philadelphia Eagles. You have to look at how they're coached and how they're put in position. And that is number one, well before we talk about injuries and health and all that kind of stuff. Let's go on to Brian. The only thing that will make the Eagles playoffs is that a tie? The only thing that will make the Eagles make the playoffs is that tie. Okay. Oh, the tie will make
He's saying that's the only reason that they're even in this position.
Yeah.
Because
F for special teams.
Yeah. What? Tell me why the punt returner is just letting the ball go every time. So that to the 2.
Did you see that? Like there was a play where there was a sequence during the game today when the Giants punter kicked it like 70 yards. And then the next highlight on Fox was the Jaguars returning like a 91-yard return for a touchdown. I'm like, must be nice. Must be nice.
Unbelievable.
Brian said, I don't think 2017 is their heads. I think Wentz is mentally distracted. He went from Foles winning the Super Bowl to the Eagles drafting Hurts. I mean, how is there mental games being played in the Eagles locker room? I don't think all that shit we heard between Doug and Carson over the last week, that's not something new. That's not a new narrative. And I think there could be potentially something moving forward with that. Let's go Giants. I go to her girl. All right. But thanks for joining.
Yeah.
All right. Let's just wrap it up. Rob, plugs.
Well, I am officially off of the COVID list. I'm back. Got to go back to work tomorrow for the first time in 14 days. But that also means you'll be catching me on Party on Broad this week. I hope I can get on a couple times. You'll be catching me. We'll bring the madness back with Jess this week. I'm sure we'll have some fun there as we both just get angrier and angrier with this team as the days go on. Make sure you're following me at Philly_Madness. And obviously you're subscribing to everything we got here at the Painted Lines.
Rock on, man. What about you, Amadeo?
Make sure to go follow the Fired Up podcast since we're officially now partnered with the Painted Lines. Go subscribe to my personal YouTube channel, TTP Sports, to find a very angry reaction to this game, because that'll definitely be up after this live stream. And we got some interesting stuff working on. NHL reverse retro jerseys, Flyers news, everything. It's going to be a fun week.
Awesome. And Monday, we're talking trades with the Sixers. I'm sure there's going to be one or two emergency podcasts potentially tomorrow if you're watching us here on Sunday. And then NBA draft, baby, on Wednesday night. It's going to be a party. Everyone's going to be drinking, eating. It's going to be so much fun. We're going to be live streaming during the entire NBA draft. So join us here at the Painted Lines YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. And if you love the NBA draft, so much content here at the Painted Lines YouTube channel and thepaintedlines.com. So make sure you subscribe. For Rob, for Amadeo, for myself, thanks for watching, guys. Talk to you later.